Hello, WWE fans, and welcome to the WWE Universe. And I felt that this was obviously needed, as it actually comes at a very kind of an unfortunate time, knowing that the UK's championship is going to get revealed by the WWE. Well, they're going to crown the first ever United Kingdom champion this Saturday and Sunday. But yesterday, WWE kind of let out the news that had been spreading for quite a few weeks, in fact, about not so long ago that the rumours first started spreading that there were talks of New Orleans taking lead for WrestleMania 34 as the venue. Well, it turns out it is the case. WWE are heading back to New Orleans next year for WrestleMania 34, and they're going back to the Superdome, the night where, well, probably the most shocking part of the last time they went to the Superdome was probably the day when The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak came to an end by Brock Lesnar. That's probably the day that annoyed a lot of fans. You should have seen the faces of many of the fans that day, seeing The Undertaker's streak come to an end by the hands of Brock Lesnar. That was something to be there for, to witness. And you can see the tapes, or you can probably see videos of it on YouTube somewhere, of the amount of people's reactions after the bell sound and they saw The Undertaker got beat by Brock. It was just, most people were happy, I can tell you now. But however, though, they were happy to see Daniel Bryan win the WWE Championship that night, which was obviously the main highlight for many people's WrestleMania 30, was probably the rise of Daniel Bryan. But obviously things have changed since then, because obviously Daniel Bryan, he's now obviously the general manager for SmackDown, as he retired last year due to WWE not letting him compete because of his injuries, which is very sad to hear that, we won't be seeing Daniel Bryan compete at WrestleMania 34 or any of the future WrestleManias. You won't be seeing him participate in the match, but you never know. Maybe WWE will put a swerve on us and somehow Daniel Bryan gets a match at WrestleMania 34. Maybe he'll get one last match. I don't know. But at the moment, from the way things are looking, it looks like Daniel Bryan's not going to get that moment to return to WrestleMania and compete and maybe win the WWE title one more time or something, which is a shame. But however, though, most people are liking the idea that, WrestleMania is coming back to New Orleans, but then most people are wondering, should another city should another town get a shot at hosting WrestleMania? Because there are quite a lot of towns across the world who would love to host WrestleMania. I mean, take, for instance, the UK. I think the UK would love to have a WrestleMania in just think about it, a British WrestleMania. That would have been WrestleMania 34. If WWE would contact the UK sooner, we would have had, if they were in the UK looking at the UK venues, they would have had a WrestleMania there next year. But for some reason, they don't see it yet, can they? They can't see a UK's WrestleMania like the fans can. I don't get it. It's like most wrestlers have been asking for this thing for like ages, and WWE still can't see it. It's outrageous. I mean, they were able to do a SummerSlam there, but they can't do a WrestleMania? Come on. Surely you can do a WrestleMania in the UK. Surely. It is possible. It's just WWE at the moment is just too busy worried about the bigger venues than focusing on the international WrestleManias that they could have had. But maybe they'll change their minds next year. Maybe they'll start thinking, okay, now we've got a UK's champion, why not base WrestleMania in the UK? Which is probably what's going to happen in 2019, the way it's looking. Because, Triple H is going to... The first thing that Triple H will say about WrestleMania 35, he'll say, we've got a UK's champion. Let's just base it in the UK because I'm the game and I get what I want. But anyway, so the date for WrestleMania 34 had been announced as Sunday, April 8th. So that's the date of when it will be returning to New Orleans. Now, of course, the logo here, very similar to WrestleMania 34 in a way. Obviously, they've changed the color and the font a little bit, but roughly it's pretty much the same as very similar to WrestleMania 30's logo, as you can probably tell. And yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. Can it be even more successful than WrestleMania 30? I guess we'll just have to wait and see how the attendance record's going to play out, because we'll see. Maybe it will. Maybe it'll be successful. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But I just think it's a bit too soon for WrestleMania to return to New Orleans, especially when they had it 4 years ago. I think, they could have waited till like the following, till, I don't know, their 35th anniversary. I think that would have been a lot more nicer than just the 34th WrestleMania being in New Orleans 4 years later after WrestleMania 30, just for them to return to it just because they made a better offer. It's just, they could have looked at other cities first, at least. But for some reason, they're just too busy wanting to grab the first money they can get. But this is WWE for you. This is what WWE business has turned into. It's turned into what Triple H and Stephanie want, less than what some of the superstars want. So, yeah. I'm afraid that's the way apparently business works in WWE, particularly in Triple H's side of things. But I mean, it's not like not like I don't like Triple H, but I just don't like this idea that Triple H has to control everything at the moment. It's like he controls how Vince McMahon plans his programs. He controls how the superstars behave, and it's just non-stop ever since he's got this business role. He's been like taking over, and it's like, dude, I know you've been a wrestler before, but for God's sake, calm it down, lad. But anyway, so they're going to be having a press event later today where they're going to obviously reveal it to the press, which is very convenient because that's what WWE always does when they announce a WrestleMania venue. They tend to have a press conference at the venue. We're not expecting tickets to be out till later in the year, so don't expect them to say, when the tickets are going to go out, because that's going to be later this year. Most likely, I don't know, summertime, maybe even November. We'll most likely see the tickets go live for WrestleMania 34. Hopefully by then, WWE will have its UK's weekly show announced by then, I hope. Especially if this I'm expecting big things from their UK's championship tournament. Because if this turns out to be a success, I'm expecting in about, I don't know, 5 months' time for WWE to come around and tell us there's going to be a UK's weekly televised show, and they start getting tickets out. And that's what I'm expecting them to sit down and say, and I'm also expecting Triple H to bring NXT back to the UK because of it. Because I just have this sneaky little feeling that Triple H is going to bring NXT back to the UK because of how generous he feels about the UK, and because he wants to showcase the NXT talent even further in the UK. So I just have this funny feeling he's going to do it. He's going to bring the NXT talent back to the UK, and they're going to end up having a tour, and they're going to end up having a NXT takeover in London again, and then at some point we're probably going to get like I said, a WrestleMania, a Royal Rumble in the UK. It's gonna literally skyrocket by the time Triple H has made the decision to to put the go ahead on. But like I said, but however, if we only do just get a UK's weekly WWE Network show out of this, then I think it will be kind of a disappointment, really, because like I said, it would be nice if it was more than just this UK's weekly televised show that Triple H is planning for the UK. It would be nice if it leads into WWE having a WrestleMania in the UK and having like a Royal Rumble in the UK, and to eventually have another SummerSlam in the UK would be nice. Maybe a Survivor Series would be also nice, and it'd be nice to have the big events touring in the UK eventually, because it's been so long. It's been so long for WWE fans in the UK to not have any of these big events arrive in the UK, not even once. And the fact that Triple H is starting to take us very seriously makes me think that he's going to eventually do it. I hope he eventually does this, because if he doesn't, then this entire UK's championship idea is probably going to end up being a waste of time if he doesn't take this opportunity to, consider a WrestleMania or, Royal Rumble and Survivor Series here eventually, because it's got to be in his mind at some point. So please make that possible, because it's got to happen eventually. We've been anxious for this for like years, so eventually WWE are going to come to their senses, and they're going to eventually make this grand British WrestleMania moment that's going to give them probably the biggest attendance record that they've ever had in the UK, and it's going to be one of those big events that the UK's wrestling fans are going to talk about for years. I just have this feeling it's going to come down to that at some point, but we'll see. However, though, like I said, we've got the UK's Championship tournament, and speaking of that UK's Championship tournament, they announced the tournament brackets. Now, I've got the picture here, as you can see. This is the tournament brackets for the first round. Now, I believe the first round's going to be on the Saturday, and then the finals are going to be on the Sunday. So this is how it's going to play out. So the columns look like this. We have Tyler Bates versus Tucker for the first match. Jordan Devon versus Danny Butcher. sounds convenient, isn't it? Trend 7 versus HT Tyre. Wolfgang versus Tyson T-Bone. Mark Andrews versus Dan Malone. James Strait versus Joseph Collins. Pete Dunne versus Roy Johnson. And Saxon Hussein versus Sam Ganswell. And these are all the stars who are going to be participating in the UK's Championship tournament. Now, these are the matches that are probably most likely to go out on the Saturday. It's meant to go live at 8 p.m. UK time, which is good to know. So it's Saturday, Sunday, 8 p.m. UK time. So that's the time slot in the UK of when we can see this live, which is a good thing. But obviously, if you're in the States, that'll be 3 p.m. Eastern for those out in the States if they want to tune in and see this for themselves. So obviously, you probably get the gesture of how the tournament works. It basically the winner of the first match will advance. The winners of the first round will advance, and they will face the winners of the other match in the first round. And then, of course, the winners of that match will advance into the semi-finals, where we'll end up having 4 superstars, and then eventually we'll end up with 2, and one of those names will be officially crowned the first ever WWE United Kingdom champion. And then it will be from there on that maybe we'll see them on NXT. Maybe. who knows? I mean, we can't really be certain if that's indeed where they're going to lead things, but it'll be nice to know where they'll end up. Will they end up on NXT, or will they end up being on the main roster? Where will they end up? So sooner or later, we're going to find out soon. That's the good thing. So yeah, sooner or later, things are going to start shaping up, and we're going to start realizing their potential. But I'm certainly going to keep up to date with all the tournament action from the first round, so be sure to tune in on Saturday evening or maybe Sunday morning, where we'll have the results of the first round and see who's advanced into the next round. Whether they all do 2 rounds on one night remains to be seen, and if so, I'll certainly let you guys know who's in the semi-finals or in the second round, so then you'll know, or the quarterfinals, so you know exactly who's advanced and who hasn't. As I will be covering all the way to the moment that we find out who the United Kingdom champion is, which is going to be amazing. So this will be live in Blackpool, by the way, the home of William Regal. Yes, that famous William Regal, the guy who became Intercontinental Champion several times. And he's also the NXT GM, so it's nice to see that William Regal's hometown's been appreciated for the United Kingdom Championship, which is nice to see. And hopefully this will be a success. So thanks for watching, and tune in this weekend as we finally find out who finally wins this tournament and who will advance to become the very first United Kingdom champion. So see you then. See you for the first highlights, either Saturday night or Sunday morning. See you then.